Welcome back to the Paddock Pulse Podcast. Leah and I are here for a handicapping episode you don't want to miss. The Breeders Cup is in just a few days, and we are catching up with one of our old friends, Caitlin Benson, who helped us out with some handicapping earlier in the podcast history. And we thought we would bring her back in because that's the episode that gets the most views, still gets views. Everyone wants to know how to bet on horse racing. They want to know how to win money on horse racing because it's always more fun when you have a ticket to root on. So, Caitlin, welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be
Caitlin.
back.
Shout out to the newly married Caitlin Benson, formerly Caitlin Free, but still the extraordinary handicapper. We are so glad to have you back. Those of you watching on the YouTube and or social media will see the ring, which girl, well done.
It's beautiful. Well done.
Thank you. Yes, he did a fantastic job, and it's great to be back and excited to do some shows. Now newly married, and I'm going to be a mom here in about 3 weeks. So
oh my gosh, I'm so
all
thankful.
Exciting stuff. But my son was very patient in waiting for the Breeders' Cup to get over with before he decides he wants to come. Knock on wood, as long as that still happens, he's got like one more day to change his mind. So
yeah. Technically, it could still, all go south, but you can totally do this. You can do your racing and Ellis video from the, delivery
exactly
post baby, but it's not
we
that
can
hard.
adapt.
Yeah, listen, y'all, horse racing is much more a lifestyle than it is a job. Caitlin is 100% a good example of that. Listen, we've got limited time. This is probably one of the craziest weeks in the entire North American calendar. So let's just jump right into it. We've got some handicapping insight for you guys today. We're going to talk about the Breeders' Cup. We're going to go into some more exotic bet options. Caitlin, let's just start off with race 9 on Friday, which is the Future Stars Friday, the juvenile races of the Breeders' Cup card. And let's just jump right into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Tell us your picks here, who you have singles and who you have in some exotic bets.
Can I highlight that this race is going to produce our early Kentucky Derby favorite, which is why we are highlighting this race in case you were curious.
Yes, absolutely.
This winner is going to go into the winter as our Derby favorite, which is always fun. And hopefully more of them will follow in the footsteps and run next May.
That is true. And also, speaking of that, not only will this horse be the Kentucky Derby favorite with Twin Spires, we also have that future wager that's open today. But this is a 30-point race, and chances are the horse that wins usually has some more points or will get some more points. So you're all but guaranteed, unless something goes amiss with the horse, to see this horse in the starting gate on the first Saturday in May. So usually going to be your 2-year-old champion. So definitely keep that in mind. Same thing with the Oaks, with the juvenile fillies. I really thought this race, like everyone else did, was a almost 2-horse race between Brant and Ted Nafi. And I ended up going with Brant in this race. Hometown horse, 2 for 2 at Del Mar. Flavien Prat obviously has had a big season. Bob Baffert is 50% when his horses are going from 2 sprints to a route. I like that this horse has had about 3 6-furlong works in a row. So he's never gone the 2 turns, but he passed that 7-furlong test really well last time out over Desert Gate and Civil Liberty, with both his horses are out of this race. So Ted Nafi is obviously going to be the toughest horse he's ever faced in his career, but Ted Nafi's had to travel multiple different times. He's going out to California to Brant. Bob's won this race more than anyone. He's won it 6 different times. So even though Brant is stretching out for the first time, he's bred really well to do so. So he's going to be the horse that I end up with in this race over Ted Nafi. So I would be, because this is going to be a short field, it's only going to be a field of 7. This is the shortest Breeders' Cup Juvenile field that we've ever had.
Yeah, in the history of the Breeders' Cup. So that's wild.
That is wild.
So I feel like this is a race when you talk about kind of those multi-leg wagers. you have to take a stand in it. Either you have to take all of them but Ted Nafi, or all of them but Brant, or just take one of those two. So this would probably be a race, and I'm definitely going to try to single in. I'll try to get Brant home to beat Ted Nafi in this race, and then just kind of move on to those other legs.
Yeah, I love that so much. So for those of us listening at home, so Ted Nafi is named after Ned Toffee. So that is very confusing. He is a longtime stalwart of Spendthrift Farm. This horse is named after him. And he is by Into Mischief, who is in fact the, pinnacle stallion for that stud farm. So that's confusing and also a little bit funny, but he is an undefeated horse. He is a 2-time Grade 1 winner at both Keeneland and Saratoga. And I really love that you singled Brant, because Brant is a gun runner and he was purchased for $3 million this year at the OBS March sale. So two very, very nice juvenile horses. And like you mentioned earlier, Leah, these are the horses that will dictate the first kind of picture for the 2026 Kentucky Derby. So some great picks there.
Definitely some colts to be watching. Wild. There's only 8 in there.
Yeah, it feels weird. It feels really weird. We had a late scratch he was a long shot there. The late scratch of Civil Liberty. And it's I don't know if that is a commentary on the state of the industry or just the domination of Ted Nafi himself.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just wondering if that Blackout Time, the other Bob Baffert horse, nope, that's McBeek. JK. Well, Irad's riding, and Irad Ortiz, I always love to look at the jockey, and that could be 100% wrong, Caitlin. You just tell me that I'm wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
He's a Breeders Cup what has he won, like 20 Breeders Cup races or something? So I didn't know, he knows the gist. I just thought that was like an interesting, I don't know. So money on the race, maybe?
I think if, one of these horses has an off day, or God forbid there be another scratch, really the other 2 horses, Blackout Time and Trepido, are I think are the ones that you need to look for in this race. Both I think have to get a little bit faster, especially the one horse. But the one horse definitely wants to go 2 turns. And Blackout Time, I think, also wants to go 2 turns. So they at least have that.
Yeah, so it's kind of an unknown. I love that. It's exciting.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Friend of the podcast, Kenny McPete, trains Blackout Time. He was second to Ted Nafi in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Futurity. This is a really good, any of these Breeders' Cup races it's literally, it's the World Championships, but it's like every race is its own Kentucky Derby. Like, this is the greatest 2 days in North American racing, or you can arguably say the world as well. So some really good horses. I know we're short on time. Let us jump right into the Breeders' Cup Distaff, which is Saturday, and this is the pinnacle race for older fillies in the U.S. Caitlin, this is a tough race. Who do you have?
This is a very tough race. I think I'm really, oh my gosh, this is a race where I just kind of feel like I haven't completely 100% made up my mind, because I think it can go a multitude of different ways. But I've heard so many people really like Clico in this race. I don't disagree with that. And Seismic Beauty far and away looks like the one to beat. She's gone the mile and an 8 distance. She's going to be a very, very low price in this race. I think there's going to be some horses that are going to go forward with her. And I really think I'm going to try to end up beating her in this race. I think either the horse that I'm most interested in, that I think has some appeal, and you're obviously going to get the price on. Leah, you mentioned Irad Ortiz Jr., just how illustrious he's been within the past couple of years. There's a horse coming into this race making her U.S. debut, 4 for 5. That's Sarawak Rim for Nacho Correas. And I believe this is going to be the last U.S. starter, probably the last starter ever for Nacho before he retires. He's going back home to Argentina. I'm very, very sad, because I literally love Nacho. I'm so sad, but he's earned his retirement.
Absolutely.
This horse will go every bit of a mile and an 8. She has looked stunning. He's been really drilling her very, very tough for this race. She's got 7 furlong works. She's got 6 furlong works. I
Oh,
really like that she's got to work over the surface at Del Mar. So I think she's a horse that's going to be pretty dangerous in this race that a
yeah.
lot of people may not think of. I respect Clico. I respect Seismic Beauty, as I mentioned. One other horse that I think could be interesting in this race that's kind of coming into her own is Darth Vader at this 1.125 distance. She wants to go a 1.125. She wants to go every bit of a 1.125. So even if she can't win, she's going to be right there.
Wow. Yeah, that's
I
true.
love that you mentioned, first off, I have spent the last decade of my career very intimately involved in the South American horses, and I have grown to have a deep, deep respect for them. So I very much love that you pointed out the two horse Sarah Walkram. I really think that these are horses that are tried and true, and I just love them. They're true competitors. They're everything that is good about the thoroughbred breed. So thank you very much for saying that. And also, Darth Vader had an incredible last race against, as listeners of this podcast will know, my absolute queen and horse that will probably bring me to tears at any mention, Torpedo Anna. So this is a great race, and there's a lot of really good horses in this race. And somebody that you didn't mention that I think handicappers will be interested in is Nitrogen, the one horse. She did pull an unfortunate inside rail, but what are your thoughts there, Caitlin?
Nitrogen can absolutely win this race. Just fine going 1.25 miles. She's just fine going 1.125 miles, no matter the surface. There's not any specific reason as to why I don't like her. I think she's going to take a lot of money. There's lots to like about her. The inside draw really doesn't bother me at all for her. So if she won this race, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned Ignacio. He is known for training fillies and he's a Philly man. He's won so many grade ones with these fillies coming up from Argentina. So I am 100% with you. I hope we get a price here because
we
we'll
will
be set to make some money. So keep that in mind. Don't hate us if you lose all your money. Yeah. Gosh, Clico. Now Clico's young. How old is she?
She's 3. And I think that, as impressive as she's been in her last 4 starts, she really needs to get faster if she wants to try to beat this group. But she's going 1.125 for the first time. And I think that distance is really going to fit her like a glove.
Okay.
Before we move on to the race that everyone wants to know about, the Breeders' Cup Classic, what are your thoughts on Jinjin? Do we think her race in the Spinster at Keeneland Lesau was like a one-off career best, or do we think she's an improving filly who's the real deal?
No, I think she's the real deal. I really think that Brendan Walsh has kind of taken her to the next level. I think she really loves Keeneland, which there's nothing wrong with that. I love Keeneland too. The thing about her in this race that I don't love is she wants to be able to pretty much dictate things on her own terms on the front end. That's probably not going to be able to happen in this race because, I think Nitrogen's going to be a lot closer today because I think Nitrogen would have beaten her if she was closer to her last time out. Scottish Lassie is a forward type of a horse. Alicia Bearhite is a horse that's capable of being forward. We obviously know Seismic Beauty wants to go to the front. So I think she's up against it from a pace perspective because she wants to be on the front end. And I don't think they're going to let her have an easy lead.
Yeah, there's a lot of speed in here. And for those of you looking at PPs, you can tell a speed horse because you'll see that they're in the lead the whole time. Like in all of the little fractions, they'll be in the lead or they'll be second, they'll be right up front. What does that tell us? Do we have a closer in here? Like, how's this Japanese horse? That's cool. I love
she's a little bit more of a forward type. She ran in the Distaff last year. She was 4th behind Torpedo Anna. I really thought she was going to be forward in that race because historically she's been very, very forward. So the fact that she didn't do that was a little bit strange, and she's only been on the turf again ever since then. I expect her to be a little bit more forward. Kyle Fry, who rode her last time in the Distaff, he's going to be on board again in this race. I think he probably learned his lesson not going to the front on her, so maybe he'll try to be a little bit closer. But I think Sarawak Rim fits the one that's going to be slightly off the pace, but not, so far off the pace. Pretty similar to Nitrogen.
I'm with you, man. I'm really liking this. Her and Clico, you're You actually know what you're talking about, Caitlin. It's kind of amazing. Kind of
This is
impressive.
why we have Caitlin on, because she knows more than all of us.
And then in the end, probably at like 7-5, Seismic Beauty and Bob will probably win it, and this will all be for naught.
Yeah,
Oh my
no,
God, I
listen,
love that though.
we want to make some money though, you know what I'm saying? So you try to
All
find
right.
I love that.
Let's keep it moving on to the feature race of the 2-day Breeders' Cup World Championship, and that is the Breeders' Cup Classic. It is a $7 million 1.25 mile race, and this year's Breeders' Cup Classic is absolutely stacked. Now, we do have the unfortunate scratch of, I think we can all agree, probably the top 3-year-old in the country in Sovereignty, Breeders' Cup winner. I'm sorry, not Breeders' Cup winner. Shout out. Kentucky Derby winner, Belmont winner. I just tried to manifest his Breeders' Cup win, but he has scratched because he had a slight fever. And I think this is a great opportunity to point out to our listeners that there are so many people in this industry who are really doing right by their horses. And Belmont and Godolphin are not exceptions. To have a horse going into a race like this as the favorite and to have a very, very slight fever and to still make the decision to scratch the horse because it's in the best interest of the horse. These are not anomalies. These are things that are happening every day in racing. And I just feel like it is a huge disappointment to not have Sovereignty in this race. But it is a testament to his connections for the way that they have prioritized him. And I think it's a lesson to maybe the haters or the critics of this industry to see that we are really taking advantage to make sure we're doing right by our horses, regardless of the stakes. And there are no higher stakes for Sovereignty than this race. So despite the stakes, they have chosen to be in his best interest and scratch him. So with that being said, we still have a very competitive Breeders' Cup Classic race. And y'all know I'm a journalism fan and also a Forever Young fan, so I am on pins and needles. Caitlin, tell us who you have in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
It's still not a done deal. I'm still really trying to figure out. I'm between 2 horses right now. Forever Young is one of them because I love that horse. I have loved him for so long. The return race in the Nip and High was very, very good. He ran a fantastic race in there, really got back to his best. And I think there's a lot of people that are really conflating and kind of reading a little bit too much into what happened to him in the Dubai World Cup. He ran about 6 weeks before in the Saudi Cup, ran against Romantic Warrior and was able to wear him down by a neck. Romantic Warrior is one of the best horses in the world. So
one of the best horses, also another Breeders' Cup contender. Like, that we shouldn't take this race for granted. Like, Romantic Warrior is a literal warrior. So yeah, a huge performance from Forever Young.
And I just think both of them gave everything they had in that race. And if you take the numbers from that race, whether it be Thorograph, Byers, anything else, this is the fastest race that anybody in this field has ever ran. That was in the Saudi Cup. The Dubai World Cup, it comes up too quickly from anything in Saudi Arabia. None of those horses come back and won, whether it was the Saudi Cup, the sprint races, the turf races, none of it. None of them won. And I don't think it's something that's going to be able to be done because of how quick the turnaround is and because of how quick both those surfaces are. Also, Yoshida Yahagi was very transparent that he didn't like a lot of the stuff that happened in Dubai to Forever Young. They had him in a stall for too long. They were trying
the quarantine
to draw blood.
situation.
Yes. So I'm completely willing to forgive that performance. He got back to a really good performance last time out at Funabashi. So I think he's going to build off that. He's bigger than he's ever been. He looks fantastic. So I love him quite a bit in this race. I also really like Mindframe. I think Mindframe is the best older horse in this country. And he just didn't get to show that last time out, obviously in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. That entire race was a mess. I really wish he had ran one more time. Coming into this race off of that. Yeah. I understand why Todd Pletcher decided not to. But the race he ran in the Stephen Foster to beat Sierra Leone, to beat a few other horses, he's had a fantastic season. He's 3 for 4. Of course, the only race he didn't win was when he dropped the rider. But he had a good start to the season at Gulfstream. Then he beat sprinters in the slop at Churchill Downs. He beat Nisos. He beat Banishing. Both those horses are going to take money this weekend in their respective races. So I think the 1.25 miles is no problem. He almost won the Belmont Stakes last year, and he's a much more refined product this year. And him and Forever Young are going to be not too far off of Contrary Thinking and Fierceness. They're going to get the jump on horses like Sierra Leone and Journalism, in my opinion. So it's between those two for me.
I love that so much.
I totally agree. My question to you is, because he lost his rider in his last race, what do we think about the distance of the 1.25 miles? What makes you say, he's got this distance? I guess he did do it. He just hasn't beaten. Yeah, he did a mile.
Yeah, he ran a really good race in the Belmont Stakes. He was just super green. But I will say, having seen 2 of his races in person at Churchill, this is a horse that is much more mentally mature than he was last year. He just needed a little bit of time. He got that time from July of last year to March. Absolutely did him a world of good. And what happened in the Jockey Club, obviously everyone saw the race. That was not because this horse was having, some of those mental misfires that he used to have. He got mugged.
He got straight up mugged.
Yeah.
So as long as there's a clean race in here, I don't see any reason why the 1.25 miles would be any type of an issue for him.
Okay, super.
That kind of brings us to, Caitlin, a little bit of the track bias at California versus East Coast, and specifically to Del Mar. And this horse we're talking about right now, Mindframe, he has never ran in California. Do you think that could be something that plays into the betting or that he needs to overcome? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was
going
to say, because Fierceness just won last time out by 3 lengths out here in California. He likes the track in Del Mar. So yeah, fill us in.
Yeah, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. There's some horses that handle some of these surfaces. There's some horses that don't. I think really every horse in the Classic, even Contrary Thinking, all of these horses are going to have a fair opportunity because all these horses run really well on fast surfaces. There's not anybody in here where things are going to get conflated with having a wet track or anything like that. So I don't think we really have anything to worry about. I think that they'll all be totally fine, and we'll have to look probably starting Thursday on until Saturday to see if there's any types of biases. I didn't notice really many in the summer, but it's also been a while from a lot of those races, and the track is going to play significantly different on Breeders' Cup. It's going to play relatively fast. They're probably going to have that track very, very well scraped. So this is the reason why. And I'm willing to say this. I don't care about Contrary Thinking being in this race. I don't. I mean, if they wanted to couple him with Sierra Leone, fine. But you know what the horse's purpose is in this race, so don't bet the horse. But I do like that on a surface that's going to be a little bit more speed favoring. We are going to have an honest pace, and somebody is not going to be able to walk on the lead no matter who it is. There's going to be multiple horses up there. So it just makes for a little bit more of a fair race, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that don't feel that way. There's a lot of people that don't like the horse being entered when he doesn't have a chance to win. But I'm telling you.
I was wondering what you meant by that. I was like, what do you mean? What's his purpose? What did you mean? Like, we all know his purpose in the race. What do you mean by that?
So he's in here to force the speed, go out to the front and set quick fractions for Sierra Leone. Being the stablemate of Sierra Leone, co-owned by the same group, Fierceness would be lone speed in this race if it's not for Contrary Thinking being in this race. This happens all the time in racing. It happens more so in other countries than it does here. It used to happen all the time back in, the 90s, the 80s, even before that. It's something that is very, very commonplace. Lots of trainers will put horses in to try to force the pace, set a quick pace for a stablemate. But the thing that people are kind of getting a little bit confused is they're like, oh, well, the horse is not in this race to win. He's just in there to set a fast pace and stop. Well, I'm telling you, Chad Brown, I can promise you, If this horse is in front still with 1 or 2 furlongs to go, it's not like Florent Giroux is going to pull the horse up and wait on Sierra Leone. They're going to keep going as
Right.
far
The
as they
directive
can.
is to win the race.
Yeah, and I mean he's in there to set up the pace for Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone obviously has a way better chance than this horse. This horse is impossible on paper, but like I said, it's not like Florent Giroux is going to pull the horse up if he's 10 lengths in front or whatever, and he's in front turning for home. It's not like he's just going to stop.
Gotcha. All right. So, and I will highlight, so Sovereignty's out, and that was our favorite. So we don't have a heavy favorite anymore, which is even more opportunity to make some money. So all of these things taken into account, tell me what kind of bets you're going to be making on these 3 races. Is that a fair question?
So I like
With an idea.
stringing together there's a lot of different things that they offer on Breeders' Cup Day. It's similar to Derby Day. There's a lot of different types of bets. There's like a turf pick 3. There's an all 3-year-old pick 3, dirt, all kinds of different stuff. Probably one of my favorite bets. I did this last year and I really, really enjoyed it. There's either a double with the Distaff in the Classic. I'll probably definitely play that one. And there's always a pick 3 that's the Distaff, the turf, and the Classic. Always play that one. I think the pick 5s are certainly worth your time. Or if you're not trying to play multi-leg wagers, a race like, the Distaff or the Classic that appears to maybe be wide open, you can bet plenty of doubles. You can bet tries in those races, things like that. So that's definitely something else that I will be doing. Or, if you like a horse like Sarah Rackwim in the Distaff, you're going to probably get about 15-1 on her. Better to win.
Keep it nice and simple.
I love it so much. So the last time we had you on, we kind of talked about betting 101, and I would really love to kind of give some of our listeners some more exotic bets. And we're just going to have you on again, Caitlin, because we just keep running out of time to talk about all the things, and we just love you so much. But
Turfway.
Yeah, yes, y'all. Turfway season in the winter is their time to shine. It's coming up. Stay tuned. We're gonna do more with that. But before we let you go, why don't you give us, in lieu of our hot seat questions, because you've already answered those for us, why don't you tell us from Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday, what are your hot picks or the horses on each day that you think are your, flying under the radar? Those are the horses that you would have our listeners bet.
Any race on the day.
Okay, so flying under the radar a little bit. One horse that I like in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, Reef Runner. That's a horse out in California. Has crossed the finish line first in his last 3 races. He got disqualified 2 starts back at Del Mar. There's so many horses in this race. None of them really, other than him and AG Bullet, want to go the 5 furlong distance. Everyone else wants to go a little bit longer. There's plenty of pace to set it up for a horse like this in here. He's a stakes winner over the surface. So I like Reef Runner coming up on Saturday in the turf sprint. And then as far as Friday goes, on the juvenile day, I'll go ahead and I'll give you a pick in the juvenile fillies. And it's probably not going to be anybody that a lot of others like. I'm going to go back to Percy's Bar in this race.
Percy's Bar, oh my gosh. All right, girl, say your piece and then we're going to go off on Percy's Bar.
So, cross the wire first in a grade 1 at this distance. Tommy Joe was not going to get her. She was never going to go by. And there's other horses in here. Obviously, Explora is a graded stakes winner at the distance as well. The pace in here, I think, is going to be relatively moderate. So Percy's Bar is going to get the jump on her and a couple others in this race. And I really, really like that Ben Colebrook didn't throw Luan Machado off after that, because things happen. Horses are green. I understand that. So I think to go the 2 turns and to be forward in this race, she has a big, big chance in here to beat the hometowner Explora. And they've ran very, very similar numbers. And I think she's going to get the jump on her late. So I like her quite a bit in this race.
Awesome. Can I ask you a question about...
Of course.
You can go back to Percy for sure if you want to, Leah, but I wanted to ask about Romantic Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, yeah. So can we like touch on him real quick? Because he's like you said, he's a warrior. So let's make sure we watch him.
So he's actually not running the Breeders' Cup. He's the Hong Kong horse that's the miler.
Okay.
Were you thinking of Rebels Romance, maybe?
Oh yeah, sorry.
You're good.
I don't know where those balloons came from. If you're watching,
I don't know either. I don't know what the heck just happened.
Okay, not Romantic Warrior, Rebels Romance. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes.
We won't.
Yeah, let's go ahead and touch on the turf with Rebels Romance. He's looking to become obviously the first male horse to win 3 Breeders' Cup races. Goldacova and Beholder both won 3 Breeders' Cup races.
Yeah, shout out to the fillies, because I feel like this has unintentionally become a podcast for just great race fillies. Like, we talk about them all the time. But anyways, continue.
Well, it's about to get better because I like a filly in the turf. I think Minnie Hawk's going to beat him for sure. And I really appreciate that David Aragona, who made the morning line in this race, made Minnie Hawk the favorite, because I think she should be the favorite in this race, coming off of that.
What race are you looking at?
The turf on Saturday, race 8.
Okay.
This is a spoiler alert. This is maybe my favorite Breeders' Cup race, and I know that's controversial as a US based person. Oh, gosh, the turf, it literally brings true international competition. It is such a good race. Y'all, do not sleep on the Breeders' Cup turf.
It's a fun race. It drew a good field this year. Historically, not a lot of 3-year-old fillies win this race. Found did it off of a similar year for Aidan O'Brien's barn. I think Minnie Hawk is very, very similar to Found. Just missed in the arc behind a really, really nice horse. But she likes firm ground quite a bit. I'd say she likes it better than soft ground. So the fact that she is going to be able to run over firm ground here, have a turn, go that 1.5 miles again, even though it is against the boys, I don't really think it matters because she almost beat him last time out in the arc. Anyway, Rebels Romance, I can't say enough about how talented this horse is. He's got so many gears. He's a horse that he doesn't necessarily need to be in front. He can come from way off the pace. He's just such a talented horse. He's going to be tough to knock off, but I do think she's better than him.
Okay.
I love it. I love it so much. And before we let you go, just to go back to Percy's Bar, the reason I want to point this out is because not only is she a very, very solid and proven race filly in her own right, like you said, Caitlin, she is really knocking on the door and has every bit of the qualities to win a race like the juvenile fillies. But she is also named after Percy Poole, who was a 40-year employee of Keeneland and Churchill. He is a bartender. There's a mezzanine bar at Keeneland that they literally named or nicknamed Percy's Bar, and that is who she's named after. It is also quite literally the best bar at Keeneland. Shortest lines, best bartenders. Y'all know what's up.
They make the best mimosas up there.
Yes. So it's just so... Yes, it's great to see a horse named after such a stalwart of our industry rising to this occasion. And it's not always great from a handicapping perspective to bet sentimentally, but in this case, the numbers don't lie. And I love the number 4 horse, Percy's Bar, in the juvenile fillies on Friday. So that's my pick.
I said it's hard to beat a horse with angel wings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's pretty special. So
absolutely,
I'll be rooting for Percy secretly, just because we have meaning in the same race. But secretly, I'm a fan of Percy too.
Oh, Caitlin, thank you so much. I know we've tried to cram a lot into a very short podcast, but we really appreciate your insight, and we just love having you on your episode. Your first episode was one of our most popular, so I really hope our listeners are taking advantage once again of your expertise. And is there anything else you would like to mention about the Breeders' Cup card before we leave you?
Really, the only other thing I would like to mention is I think the horse that has looked the best in the mornings from everything that I have seen and everything that I saw in Kentucky is Ben Tornado. So that's probably going to be my best bet in the sprint coming up on Saturday. He's probably my best bet of the weekend. He's not going to be an attractive price. I think he'll probably be the favorite in there.
That's
keep.
okay. What race number is that?
That is going to. Hold on, I'm on Friday.
Sorry, it's okay. It's not a big deal. People can look it up. I just am
Yeah,
making notes.
Y'all
it's earlier, it's right
utilize your information. I don't know if we mentioned in the beginning or not. Maybe we did before we started recording, but if you want to access the free PPs, which is the past performances of the entire Breeders' Cup card, you can go to Equibase for that. Also, if you're not familiar with navigating that, you can Google free Breeders' Cup PPs Equibase and it will bring it up. So this is one of the few race weekends or meets during the year where we have free information available to people. So even if you're not a seasoned handicapper and you just want to have access to that information so that you can kind of understand a little bit more of what we're talking about, definitely utilize that Equibase.
Absolutely.
I love it. Good plan, sister. Okay, guys. Thank you again, Caitlin. Definitely re-listen to this because there's a lot of nuggets that she dropped that I didn't even go back and ask her to repeat that you could probably pick up if you just listen to it again. You guys have a great Breeders' Cup weekend. Have a great delivery of that beautiful little nugget, Caitlin. And just stay tuning in. We'll bring some more handicapping to you. Like we said, we'll do a fun one. That'll be fun to do like a Turfway winner.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, until next time, guys, thanks for joining, everyone.